My name is Casey Wakefield, and I'm a painter and create abstract paintings and a mentor for the Milan Art Institute. I've always loved art. When I was a child, I always loved to create it. I always loved coloring and drawing things or just making things to be able to give to other people and make them happy. And throughout school growing up, I would always choose to take the art class. I always looked forward to art class and learning something new. So that's always stayed with me, and I always have loved just being around it. After taking a few painting classes with Ellie, I remember hearing her one day in the class talking about her mastery program and how it was a year long, and I thought, oh wow, that would be so amazing to be able to spend a year just learning to draw and painting and just having that time to be able to create. I thought I had to do this. It was now or never to learn how to try it and just to give it a go. Finished the program in 2018, so it's been a few years, but I've been painting ever since. For some reason, I've always connected to abstract art more than other just representational paintings or pictorial paintings. And then the more I learned about abstract art, the more it resonated more with me. And so that's why I just keep continuing to paint it. I will be beginning with just laying down some collage and kind of thinking through maybe what kind of add with my color palette. I don't usually go into it with too much of a plan, but I at least know the colors I want to use, maybe some collage papers, and just have some materials out so that I'm ready and can be free with as I'm going along. I like to add, inspirational words or thoughts or ideas into the abstract. When I'm thinking about painting an abstract painting, it's usually I have somebody in mind, whether it's a commissioned painting or just kind of imagining someone that this artwork would be for. This one is for the students, and I thought this one was a good little piece of advice or inspiration, but it says, "The person who risks nothing does nothing, has nothing, is nothing, and becomes nothing. He may avoid suffering and sorrow, but he simply cannot learn and feel and change and grow and love and live." So this is to encourage you all as you create your own abstract painting to take risks and see what can kind of happen on the other side. I was thinking, as an artist, you're always taking risks. And the more risks you take within your own artwork and showing your art, sharing your art, we're all doing that every day anyways. For me, was just kind of a reminder that it's good to take risks, and that's just kind of how we move forward if we do, and it's a good thing to do it. I'll eventually collage this. Usually I always use some kind of paper with texture on it. So I grabbed a couple of pieces of this paper here too. It has some texture to it, but also a little bit of the color with the color palette that I'm going to work with today. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a neutral, like a dark neutral wash over the background. This helps create like a nice little depth within the abstract. And it also works well with my color story. And I can mix in some of the Payne's gray and the burnt umber with some of my color that I work in with the abstract too. And that kind of makes everything a little more cohesive. Some of these marks will stay, some of them won't. It just, for now, it gives me something to kind of work with as I build up the layers and creating depth and movement within the abstract. Achieving depth in abstracts is making sure that you have background, midground, and a foreground, and just adding layers upon layers of interest is what creates good depth in abstract paintings. Now we'll start adding a few inks. Usually this layer, then I'll go with more of the brighter colors because it's fun to be able to have those as pops of color every once in a while throughout the abstract composition. Now I'm just kind of brushing on some water, and if you can see, the graphite's not moving because I use the 2x spray, even though I have water on top of it. And I like to use the mop brush with water to kind of move the ink around a little bit. And also I turn my canvas upside down. I like to be able to use and work at it at different angles as I'm adding mark makings throughout the process. And then that way it kind of becomes a little more well-rounded composition and balanced as an abstract. So I like using the bright, more garish colors for the ink process because I feel like it gives me a little bit of something that can kind of peek through within the layers, and they usually end up showing the most fun, kind of interesting effects and contrast throughout the layers of the painting process. And so that's what I really kind of did with them. I'm not like the most amazing movement of inks and spreading them out, but it's more of just to get another layer, see if something interesting happens. If something doesn't, oh well, then I'll move on to the next stage and see what happens. But I just like them in general in the organic kind of way that they spread through the water. And so just having that possibility or that randomness that can happen with inks is what I like about them. So now that we've done most of our mark making on the table, now's the time where I put the canvas up on the easel and start trying to make even more marks, blocking in some of the colors that I'd like to use with the color palette. But at the same time, what helps when blocking in or scumbling in more, what I like to do in order to create more values and more depth throughout the abstract painting is to mix my warm colors with like a burnt umber, and then maybe add a little bit of white to add more contrast within that, but it's more of a chromatic type muted color. Now that I've got more bright colors on here, the contrast with the more muted colors on top. And then I'll probably go back the other way, and then the oils really bring in those juicy feeling type colors after to finish it off with at the end. This is the part of the process that always scares me, where I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm terrible. This is not going to work. Why am I even doing this? There's times where I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. This one either needs to take a time out and sit against the wall somewhere, or that, or do I just keep pushing through and go to that next step? So today is the second day of my painting. I'm gonna go ahead and start working with the oils. With the oils, I'm still working with the same color palette as I was yesterday with the acrylics, and the same limited colors that I was using for my color story. It looks like it's just a bunch of color thrown on a canvas or a paper, but I think if you actually work through and try to do it yourself, then you probably wouldn't come up with maybe certain thing. And everyone's so unique. The other person would create is not gonna be the same thing. We would make two different things out of the, the limited materials that you use in the same color palette. It would come out totally different. And so I think that's what's unique about abstract art, is that it's always different and it's never the same thing, And so the thing is, I guess, if anyone could do it, then go ahead and do it and, make your own abstract painting. Okay, so I think I'm done for today. I'm not sure, kind of need to walk away from it, take some time, sleep on it a little bit, and then come back tomorrow and look at it with some fresh eyes and just see if there's anything else I can add to be able to complete the painting. Overall, I feel like this feels well, it settles well with me, and I think we're done. Got the signature, and we should be good to go. Thank you for watching my start to finish of my abstract painting. If you want to watch the full version of this video, you can join Art Club. Click the link in the description to get your 14-day free trial.